So, heading into the 2021-2022 NBA season, I thought, I thought it was the right time to take a look back at the 2021-2022 Finals MVP, you know, and NBA champion Giannis Antetokounmpo. I believe, you know, coming off the back of what was such a great season, and after so many disappointments in a row, to where we felt like would end up leaving Milwaukee, you know, he's now a champion. That changes everything. That changes the trajectory of his career, the franchise, and I believe what's to come. And when we look back at his career now, two-time MVP, Finals MVP, Most Improved Player, Defensive Player of the Year. It looks better than anyone we've seen before. At his age, at the age of 26, he's done more than what anyone's ever done. I believe, in my opinion, and also statistically, when you look back at the comparisons he was getting, the Michael Jordans, the LeBron James, they didn't win a title. They didn't have the championship at 26 years old. So it does put him in a position to where he's able to carve out his own lane and it takes the pressure off him. I believe for the rest of his career. That now that he has that monkey off his back, and now he's able to just play the game and take it where just play the game and take it day by day. Because I believe he's such an incredible worker. He's in the gym every single day. And even when they won a title, he was in the gym 2 weeks later, getting up jumpers because he wants to be great. And he's shown it every single season. He's come back bigger, faster, stronger, worked on his game. Even though the jump shot hasn't fully come along yet, I believe with time it will come, with the work ethic he puts in the game and the Mamba mentality that he applies to himself, I believe, he will improve as a player. But I believe, especially in last year's playoff run, he found something, he found something that he hadn't had before. He found a go-to, I'd call it, a go-to to where, in the clutch moments, to where he found a sweet spot on the court, I believe, and I believe it was in the low block, on the low post, on the left side, to where he's able to get his shot off over anyone, and to where he can rely on it. And even the free throw situation, which he managed to figure out, he was going through a period where he was struggling because to stay in rhythm at the free throw line. But what happened was, when the fans were trolling him and counted 10, it kind of got him into a bit of a rhythm, and then he figured that part out. So, because that's the thing that we were saying, the only thing he needed to figure out was to find a go-to move in the clutch and have it only be a midi. He doesn't need to shoot threes. He needs to shoot them when he's wide open, to make the defense respect him. But in terms of working on his game and being effective in the playoffs and the clutch moments, having Chris Middleton also step up for him, when he was injured, also helps. And Drew Holiday on the defensive end, to guard the guards and to be the defensive dynamo on the defensive end. Having him definitely helped. Brook, making shots and protecting the rim. But Giannis himself had to find himself in the clutch moments. He had to find a way to where he can impact the game, late in games, to where in a half-court setting, to where he can be effective on both sides, and for him to be able to win a game, So I believe that was very big for him. Even though Brooklyn Nets were without Kyrie Irving for the majority of that series, and James Harden was on one leg, I believe there is no looking back for him. Once you get that monkey off your back, like we saw Steph Curry in 2015 and the Milwaukee Bucks. And that core, they went to another level the next season, And I believe, I think coming off that season, I think the Milwaukee Bucks will keep their foot on the pedal as Giannis does, and that's the only way he knows how to play, But I believe if Giannis can, this season, I've seen in the preseason he's come back, much bigger. He looks stronger once again. That mid-range has become more and more, automatic. For even the percentages. If you check the percentages in the mid-range, 44% of his shots, he's hitting them from there, in the mid-range. So he's figuring that situation out. He's figuring out that it's not only threes or layups. It doesn't have to be threes. You can shoot from the mid-range and be effective because as we know in the playoffs, it always comes back down to the mid-range. The mid-range pull-up. That is for me the highest percentage comfort shot in the playoffs. late in games especially. That is always the go-to, as we've seen in history. So, but yeah, I believe going forward, as he ages, that is an important part of his game that he has to add right now, and I think he has to bed it in now to so he's comfortable, going late into his career, and when he does lose his athleticism, he doesn't just fall off a cliff, and that he's able to, maintain a part of his game that he can go to in the playoffs, especially late in games, and not just be a screen setter. Also that screen set thing also did help him out. He figured out that he can be the role man with Chris Middleton, and Chris Middleton also worked on his game, and Chris Middleton added that pick and roll element to where he's a threat, passing out of the pick and roll and scoring. And then Giannis has become an amazing screen setter. He's gone from being a wing to a literal big, in the clutch moments. So where he's able to do that also, and that can be another go-to for the Milwaukee Bucks offense, as well as he can also be a staple for the next couple of years. And this season, Milwaukee are going to have to prove themselves again, because Brooklyn Nets, they were spanking them in the first 2 games until Kyrie got injured. So it leaves some sort of motivation for Giannis, to come into this season off the back of that, similar to what happened with Steph Curry and LeBron in 2015, to where the Golden State Warriors won a title, and they were saying, they got lucky because Kyrie and Kevin Love were hurt. It's a similar situation this year with James Harden and Kyrie being injured and affecting, and everyone saying that they would have won if they were healthy. So that leaves some sort of motivation, and I believe questions which we will see if they will be answered this year, to whether the Milwaukee Bucks got the benefit of having to play an injured team, injured roster, an injured Brooklyn Nets, or whether they were actually the better team and they had figured them out, and whether or not you can win with no defense, and the balance of Milwaukee, and whether that is the best way to win. But yeah, we will see what happens. I believe it's going to be a great season for Giannis Antetokounmpo. I don't have him winning the MVP, as I believe he will, manage himself to where he's able to be the best version of himself in the playoffs and to where he's fully healthy. But I do believe, that go-to mid-range jumper in the clutch, which he has developed, will pay dividends, at the end of the season, particularly in the playoffs, and also Chris Middleton's confidence, which has risen. It will allow them to be a great duo along with Drew Holiday, the defensive dynamo in the backcourt. I believe they'll be a solid team, and we'll see what happens this season.